Good evening. My name is Anthony Toronto. I am the Executive Director of Student Services for the Redondo Beach Unified School District. On behalf of the Board of Education and our superintendent, I would like to welcome you to our annual kindergarten information event. This evening, you will hear from each of our principals and district staff on what you can expect as your child enters kindergarten and officially becomes part of the class of 2034. I know that may sound strange, but get ready, class of 2034. Also tonight, parents, you will have the ability to submit live questions on our kinder program. Again, questions specific to our kindergarten program. Any individual questions we won't be able to answer, but if it's a question about our program as a whole, we will answer them tonight at Kinder Roundup 2021 at rbusd.org. You'll notice on the bottom of every slide, we have that there for you to reference. And then again, time permitting, we will answer any questions that have been emailed to us during tonight's event. If your question does not get answered this evening, we will follow up with you. So with that, I am going to kick things off and turn things over to our Assistant Superintendent of Ed Services, Dr. Susan Wiles.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Susan Wiles. I am the Assistant Superintendent over here in Educational Services, and on behalf of Educational Services, we want to welcome you tonight. This is probably one of the most exciting things that our department does all year long, is we welcome our families, welcome our students who are going to be new to Redondo Beach, and tonight we're going to kind of walk you through a little bit of what that journey is going to be like over the next, wait for it, 13 years. So before we get started tonight, I just want to give you kind of a little perspective. One of the things that you're going to be seeing tonight is you're going to be seeing a panelist of not only your district office staff, your school site principals, but you are meeting a load of parents. We are parents first and foremost, and so we like to kick off with this slide. These are my two children. This is who I am when I am not sitting in this office. I'm the mother of 13-year-old twin girls. On the left-hand side was taken the weekend before they started kindergarten. The picture on the right-hand side, they are 8th graders and they are about to head off to high school. And I assure parents, if you think bringing them to kindergarten is scary, wait till you think about sending them off to high school. It's even more terrifying. So all of your anxiety you're feeling now, good news, you're going to feel it again in about 8-9 years. I want to talk to you a little bit about kind of the people that you're going to meet tonight. Our 8 principals are the best of the best. And you're going to meet tonight 8 people who are going to, for the next 6 years, be the people who are influencing, who are leading, who are going to be mentoring, inspiring, and more importantly, protecting your children for the next 6 years. All 8 schools are amazing. We would send, and all of us on this panel tonight are sending our children to any one of them, any one of our schools. So welcome to Redondo Beach. You're going to hear a lot tonight about the idea of the whole child. And that's kind of an interesting thing to think about right now in COVID, but this is our #1 focus in Redondo Beach. When we think about bringing your child into the Redondo Beach family, we're thinking about them as a whole child. It's not just their academics. Academics are very important and we do an amazing job at it. But we think about their social development, their emotional development, their physical and just all around well-being, and that's really important to us. So when you're hearing tonight, you're not going to hear a ton of academics because we do that very well. You're going to hear about all the other pieces that we put together. You're going to hear all about registration and all about anything that might be making you anxious tonight. And I want you, please, I want to reiterate what Dr. Toronto said, please send us questions. Not being able to be in person with you this year is probably as tough on us as it is on you, so please send us questions. And with that, I want to turn the evening over to Dr. Stephen Keller, our proud superintendent of Redondo Beach Unified School District.
Thank you, Dr. Wiles. Good evening, everybody. You know what's great about tonight, I will share with you, seriously, is every year I've been in this district for 15 years and we do this kindergarten event, and some of us feel is older each year when we see the kindergarten parents come in. So not having you to look at and feel really old is a feel-good moment for me. So as much as I like to be there in person, there is a little piece of happiness that I bring virtually with you. This slide, first of all, that's Sloanie Keller. She is a 4th grader in our district. Couldn't be happier. I couldn't be luckier as a parent myself. And you're gonna see real quickly what a great experience it is for your kid, our kids here in Redondo Beach Unified School District. One of the big pieces I share over and over again is, and this is just boom coming right at you as a parent. It's a synergy. It's 2 forces working as one for the betterment of, in this case, a child. And so we're going to do our job. You're going to see we do our job. You're going to see we do our job, make mistakes, own it, fix it, move on, and don't let it happen again. We need you to be the parent. When they're with us, we will take good care of them. It's what we do, and you're going to hear it. And believe me, I want to leave plenty of time for you to hear from our great leaders at our school sites. But I really want to look you all in the eye normally and say, look at me. You do your job, we'll do our job. This is a partnership. And so you're going to hold us responsible. And you know what happens if we don't do our job, right? No matter what, you're the parent. And so please work with us. We can do this together. We are positive people. We are problem solvers. And we're parents. So we get this, Chase, and we get the imperfections of it. 8 is great. Dr. Wiles talked about it. 8 is great. We have 8 elementary schools. I know. I don't usually do a raise of your hands. Raise your hand if you're shopping for a school. Knock it off. Your local school is going to be great. Whatever that school is in your community is great. We'll talk about other options for you. But if you're shopping, I think you're going to see, 8 great experiences. You can't go wrong. Trust me, they're all unique and certainly part of the Redondo Beach Unified School District, but they all each have their own vibe, their own character, and their own greatness. And so you will hear that tonight. Probably the most important thing I'm going to tell you, and I mean this sincerely, the one thing that I would argue until I'm blue in the face that we do as well as anybody in any place I've ever seen is hire. 85% of a school district's budget is consumed by people, things that eat. It's my joke, I always say. And so if 85% of your budget is consumed by people, really think about it, it's a unique industry. You have to hire well. You have to be critical. You need to have a strong process, background checks, reference checks, and not one person gets hired in this district, not a teacher, not a custodian, not an administrator, not anybody, unless they go through this rigorous interview process, including an interview with me. The final interview is with me. We have about 1,350 employees. And believe me, the time spent on the front side, ensuring we're hiring the best people, lunch aides, library folks, teachers, custodians, front office people, administrators, all of them, the better due diligence we do, the better it is for you and the better for your child, most importantly, and of course for us as supervisors. Beyond the bubble test, Dr. Wiles mentioned that. The bottom line for that is we are more than just a test. If you just want high test scores, well, you're going to get a lot of value added for your kid. I always say if you really just want high test scores, and Dr. Wiles framed it perfectly earlier, is that just that's part of our business, but it's not our only business. Your kid will score well, do well. That's who we are. But we really look out for the social emotional well-being aspects of kids, physical fitness, nutrition, and of course the cognitive or academic piece follows suit when all those pieces are in place effectively and holistically. And then RUHS, Redondo Union High School. Hey, let me just say one thing. That is the center of Redondo Beach. It's not the pier, it's not the Galleria, it's not Dog Park, it's not the Village. The center of Redondo Beach is Redondo Union High School. So know that that's the pursuit. We get kids ready to thrive when they land on that high school campus, and what a campus that is and what a staff that is. We want you to join PTA. We usually pass out a bucket here and try to get people to join PTA, and of course invest in Redondo Beach Ed Foundation, which you'll be hearing about shortly. And then just as a parent, from one parent to another parent, because I have an older son as well, start saving for college. I'm not being funny. I'm not at all trying to crack a little fast sales pitch on you. Go get a 529 plan from whomever you want. Start putting money away. Stop going to Starbucks for a week or whatever it is you do to spend a little extra money and start saving for college. You know why? Because college is expensive. Trust me, I know. All right. Moving on. Next slide there, Dr. Toronto. This is the big question you're asking, and it's I got two things. I got two gimmicks here. No, it's not.
That was easy.
No, it's not that. And time is on our side. What's going to happen next year in the fall? I don't have a crystal ball here. I would show that. We're planning for your child to return or to arrive to our campuses in the fall. There are a lot of new entities that are embedded in our process. It used to be completely a school district local control piece. Obviously, we have Center for Disease Control, California Department of Public Health, LA County Department of Public Health. We've got a lot of entities involved in opening schools, reopening schools. Our plan here tonight is to plan for opening in-person experiences for our kindergarten students. That, of course, can change. And I'm not going to tell you, please don't say, Dr. Keller said we're going to open, or Stephen said it, we're going to open. I didn't say that. I said we're planning for that because that's our intent. However, there are a lot of moving parts in COVID, and it's been tough. I'm not going to lie to you, but we do see some optimism now. And so our goal here tonight is to plan for the best and plan for the hope for the best and plan for the worst. We'll obviously have alternative plans if necessary, but I want to make it clear that is our plan, but anything can change and we'll keep you apprised. One thing we do is keep you apprised. And if you ever need just quick handy dandy information, go to our website, rbusd.org, go under the whole safe return to school, COVID-19, anything on there, you're going to have a lot of information. What I wanted to do is take the opportunity now to introduce to you our board vice president, and that is Miss Raymer Flynn. Raymer, you want to take it away?
Sure. Thanks, Dr. Keller. Welcome, everyone. 2034. Wow. I can remember when I was sitting in the cafeteria hearing about the class of 2022, which is now my oldest daughter. And I thought that was a million years away. I am a parent of 2 daughters in our district, so I have been through the kindergarten process twice now, and I have both of my elementary principals still represented here. And I can say that, echo what Dr. Keller said, is about the best people. You really have the best people, top to bottom, working with your kids. It's been an honor to serve on the board. I have been involved as a parent, went on to PTA, RBEF, and now I'm serving on the board. So I want to welcome you to the Redondo Beach Unified School District, encourage you to ask your questions, encourage you to reach out. We are accessible. Your administrators and your school board, you know how to find us. Please do, because we are here for you and look forward to meeting you all in person at some point.
Thank you, Raymer. Robin Garfield from RBEF is here. Robin, you want to share some information about RBEF for us, please? Robin? All right, let's move to Kim.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Are you there?
Sorry. I made it work. I apologize.
Okay. That's okay.
Okay. So again, as I said, which you didn't hear, I am Robin Garfield, the executive director of RBEF, and I'm so thrilled to be here. Also a parent of a 5th and 7th grader. And like everyone else, I echo, I cannot imagine raising my children in any other district. Like I'm going to cry when my 5th grader moves on to elementary in a few months. So anyway, let me talk to you a little bit about the Redondo Beach Ed Foundation. We are actually this year are in our 30th year, and we are so thrilled for that, because what exactly RBF does is we're a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to raise money for parents, from parents and business partners in the community, to provide all RBUSD students an educational experience beyond what public funding can do. So we are able to do what other organizations can't. For example, PTA, which I highly encourage you to be a part of, does so much for our schools, but there are certain things they can't fund. So we provide additional teachers, we provide curriculum, technology, extracurriculars, and extra support, especially during distance learning, so that all of our children can have that higher level of education with more than just the bare minimum. And as you heard tonight, we are really about educating the whole child. So a lot of our funding goes to be able to create that experience for everyone. So how we do that is actually throughout the year, various programs, including our investor drive, our Skechers walk, friendship walk, some of you might have seen that or participated, our golf tournament, and as coming up on May 22nd, our spring gala. Our RBF grants over $1 million to our RBUSD schools, and over 750,000 of that went directly to our elementary schools in the way of music teachers, band teachers, PE teachers, robotics, teacher grants, technology, and so much more. So There are over 10,000 great reasons to give to RBEF, and I know come fall, you will know at least one of them. So I hope you join us and be a part of RBEF in the new school year. Thanks.
Thanks, Robin. All right, Kimberly Kiwi, RB PTA Council President. Kimberly, you want to share about PTA?
Sure. Welcome, everybody. I'm Kimberly Kiwi, the PTA President of Council PTA. The council supports all 11 schools within our school districts. We've got 8 elementary, 2 middle schools, and the greatest high school, like Dr. Keller said, in the South Bay. The mission of PTA is to positively impact the lives of all children and families. It's the largest volunteer-based child advocacy association working to drive improvements in education, health, and the well-being of all children and families. Your membership matters. And like Raymer, 12 years ago, I was sitting in your shoes. I could hardly believe my baby was going to start school in the fall. I had mixed emotion, excitement, apprehension, fear. But as the principal and the PTA president welcomed my family to the school community, I felt a sense of comfort, and I knew my child was in the right place. I rolled up my sleeves and I dove in head first. I joined PTA and started volunteering, and the rest is history. What does PTA do? It enhances your child's education by providing grade level programs, educational assemblies, field trips, buses to the field trips, family nights, hands-on art, and classroom enrichment, and so much more. This year has been rather challenging, but your PTA leaders have been hard at work reinventing programs for the children and families. And finally, I want you to know that there's so many opportunities for you to become involved. You can dive in like me, or you can take it slow. Just please make sure you join your child's school PTA or become a PTA member, a community member, and we welcome everyone. I'll put my email in the chat and you can send any questions my way. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Kimberly. We're all PTA members and appreciative for your advocacy. And of course, thanks to RBEF for all you do, for all the value added pieces you provide our kids and our staff. All right, big picture, just real quickly, and then you're done with me. This just gives you a summary of our district. I always remind people too, we're a bigger district than sometimes people think. We're one of the few districts in the state of California that's seen an increase in enrollment over the last 10 years. People want to come to our district. We call it a destination district. A lot of people move here to send their kids here. I would. And then you basically can read it for yourself, but 8 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, 1 comprehensive high school, RUHS, continuation high school, that's Dreisler. An adult school down the street, South Bay Adult School. We partner with Manhattan Beach. And we have about almost 10,000 kids. We dipped a hair this year a little bit. And of course, we focus everything on safety. And so with that, I will turn it back over to Dr. Toronto.
All right, thank you, Dr. Keller, and thank you everyone for sharing a little bit about RBUSD and the role that we all play to educate our students and meet the needs of the whole child. And so now I'd like to turn it over to our principals. First, I'd like to introduce Dr. Tanaz Bruna. She is the principal of Toledo Elementary, and she's here to share a little bit about kindergarten versus transitional kindergarten.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to Redondo Beach. Dr. Toronto, if you can go to the next slide. I wanted to share with our families, we often get asked the difference between transitional kindergarten and kindergarten, which to enroll in and how you determine that. So our kindergarten program is for our students that are going to be 5 years old by September 1st of this year. In our transitional kindergarten program, we want our students to be turning 5 between September 2nd and December 2nd. And unfortunately, we actually don't make any birth date exceptions to that date. We have to kind of stick within those guidelines because the reality is if we make an exception for, let's say, December 3rd, we've got to make an exception for December 4th. And so therefore, we just have that hard cutoff of September 2nd to December 2nd. So if you have a child whose birthday falls within that range, they're absolutely eligible for transitional kindergarten. All 8 of our school sites are part of the transitional kindergarten program. The only difference is that it's housed at 2 of our elementary schools, Madison and Toledo. So I am the principal at Toledo Elementary, and later on this evening, you're going to hear from Dr. Heather Cash, who's the principal at Madison. If your home school is one of the South Elementary schools, your transitional kindergarten home school would be Toledo. And if your home school is one of the North Redondo Elementary schools, your transitional kindergarten home school would be Madison. All of the enrollment is done at your home school no matter what. So even if you are a Jefferson family and you know that Toledo is going to be your TK homeschool, you are going to do that the same as any kindergarten family, and you're going to start that registration online, and your homeschool will then forward the information to the TK program. Next slide, Dr. Toronto. And a little bit more details about the difference of actually the school day and the program. So TK is great because, you know, if your child is not eligible for kindergarten, it's a great first exposure to school. We follow the California frameworks for transitional kindergarten, while in the kindergarten classroom, we follow obviously the California content standards that the state has provided us for kindergarten students. We definitely in TK focus a lot on developmental milestones. We do a lot of exploration and discovery, a lot of hands-on activities. We want our students to learn about sharing and what it means to be a good listener and what it means to be a good learner. Those things are also learned in the kindergarten classroom, but of course our students are just a little bit older. In both programs, we definitely have a focus on fine and gross motor skills. All of our schools have great occupational therapists that collaborate with our teachers if there's a need for that. We definitely want to teach our students to collaborate and cooperate with each other. You'll see in many of our classrooms, there's a lot of, you know, traditionally group activity. Now, I know we don't know what school is going to look like next year, but in a traditional setting, their kids are interacting with each other. They're learning how to give each other feedback, positive criticism, things like that. And of course, we want to work on community building and make them feel that they're part of a community and part of a bigger picture, which is their school. Both programs have a very structured day. They follow a very similar schedule depending on what school you attend, and we can share more of that information with you. I know both my school, Toledo, and Madison, Dr. Cash, will have information sessions later on, so definitely check our websites. Give us a call if you have any questions. If you ever have any questions about TK, I know both Dr. Cash and I are available to answer those questions for you. So welcome to Redondo, and we are excited to meet your kiddos next year.
Dr. Toronto is muted, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. I'm Heather Cash. I'm the principal at Madison Elementary School, the home of the Comets, and we also host the other TK program. So if your home school is Madison, Bernie, Washington, or Lincoln, you would attend Madison for TK. If your home school is Toledo, Alta Vista, Jefferson, or Burrell, you would attend Toledo for TK. The process to get enrolled for TK or kindergarten is exactly the same. So you're going to go to our website and you will complete the online registration beginning March 1st. Once you have done that online registration, your registration will be routed to the appropriate school based upon your address. And at that point, you would want to call your home school. So you'll want to look at the school finder on the website if you're not sure what your home school is, and let the office know that you've completed an application. The TK and K applications look exactly the same because we report to the state in the same way. So you're going to want to call your home school and say, my child is actually in TK and will need to be transferred to a TK program. At that point, the office manager will send you a link to the TK application, and you'll complete that, and we'll handle the back end transferring your registration to the appropriate school. You would then go back to your home school for kindergarten. So we know you have so many questions about getting ready for kindergarten. It's such an exciting time for your family, so much transition. And we know you have a lot of detailed questions about buying milk and the first day of school and what the schedule is going to be like and how to prepare. And I want you to know that you can relax. We will have lots of information sessions for you. And we are pros. We know how to take care of your kids. We're going to advocate for them as though we were your parents. We will love them as though they're our own children. In the meantime, there are some things you can do to help the children get ready. You want to make sure you're building independence with them, with their shoes, with toileting, that they can open their own snacks, that they know how to ask for help in a respectful way, that they know how to take turns or maybe practice a little bit of delayed gratification. But mostly be positive, be excited about this transition. If you have anxiety, don't share that. Just show how much fun you're going to have. And go ahead and look for those kindergarten information events that are going to be hosted at your site, because that's where you'll meet the teachers, Madison will be hosting a formal event where you'll meet all the teachers, but we'll also have a casual coffee with the principal where you can ask all of your detailed personal questions. But most importantly, know that every principal here wants to answer your questions. You're welcome to and encouraged to email all of us. We don't mind answering little questions. We want you to know we're partners, like Dr. Keller said, and you'll get to know us very well, and you'll realize we're very available and very interested in supporting the positive experience that your child's going to have at our school. Next, I'd like to introduce Mrs. Karen Soto, the principal at Alta Vista.
Hi there, I'm Karen Soto, and thank you, Heather, for introducing me. I'm the principal at Alta Vista. Kindergarten is a special time for sure. My kids are grown adults, and I still remember so many moments of that year. In fact, I'm still in touch with their kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Campbell. I was fortunate enough that my kids had the same teacher and we had that rapport with them. Redondo Beach Unified School District is the perfect place to be as your child starts their academic career. We have high academic standards. Teachers follow, as you've heard, the Common Core standards. They focus on foundational skills in math. Kids learn flexibility in numbers. They learn the early literacy skills that makes them lifelong readers. And we also focus on science and engineering and the arts. Beyond academics, though, as you heard many times tonight, is Redondo Beach Unified School District believes in the whole child. We have designed a program that partners with the community, and at RBUSD, we understand that it takes a village, and we invite you to join our village. There'll be many opportunities for you to come alongside of us. Some of the programs included are we partner with Beach Cities Health District, and they have many amazing wellness programs for your children. They range from nutrition to social emotional. We have gardening, and we have morning exercises. If you have had the opportunity to drive by any of the sites, you'll see the lovely gardens that continue to grow. And the kids harvest those vegetables and they do a tasting. They learn to make little snacks and healthy snacks. And we also, as you heard before, that we partner with RBF. We have music teachers and PE teachers that come from that grant. We also have programs that come from PTA, such as hands-on art, where parents are docents and they go through different mediums with art, and they go through different artists. There is the running club, and there's Girls on the Run, there's walking school bus, and there's also opportunities for dads. We have something called Watchdogs, and that's probably many of our students' favorite days, when the dads come onto campus and spend a day with the kids. You always see them out at the playground, and it's always so enjoyable to see that. I'd like to introduce our next person, who is Mira Bascaron, who is the principal at Bernie, and she will be talking about how you can help as parents.
Thank you, Karen. Hi, everyone. My name is Mira Bascaron. I'm the principal at Bernie. I want to welcome you to RBUSD, a great place to be. I myself am a parent. My kids, it's crazy, in middle school and high school now, so it goes quickly, so enjoy the years. What are some of the things you can do to help us as your child enters kindergarten? So one of the main things that we requested that you help your child to develop that self-confidence. Oh, my light just went out. And one of the ways you can do that is really, help them and encourage them. Don't get upset if they make mistakes. Guide them through kind of solutions to those mistakes. Another thing you can do is just encourage them to take risks, to play, outside, observe their surroundings. Something that I think has been lost in this age of kind of technology is the speaking and listening, right? So a lot of us tend to be on our phones or on devices, or even the child's on a device, and we lose that engagement, that conversation that we have with our child. So really make it a point, maybe even during the day, where all electronics get put away for a certain period of time, and all you do is, speak and listen to each other. It's a really critical skill for us, especially those kiddos coming into kindergarten. Something else is creating. The little ones, especially kindergartners, they love to create things. And they are so resourceful. They can find things around the house, in the backyard. just around their space, and they can use pretty much anything to create. So encourage that and help them and work with them while they do that. Of course, enjoying books, whether the books are online or the library, I believe, still allows you to hold books and you can go pick them up and borrow them. We definitely want to make sure that kiddos value respect and rules, and we know that households have that. So we really want to make sure that you hold students accountable for that. So if there's a rule in your house, talk about the whys surrounding it and just help them to understand why it is critical to follow certain rules and respect those rules. Some of the pre-academic skills that we'd hope students would have is just something as simple as counting, you know, and that can be something that you can encourage them to do in the car as you're driving somewhere, or reciting the ABCs. Again, another great skill that we would love for them to have as they enter kindergarten. Dr. Toronto, next slide. Continuing with helping students to get ready for kindergarten. So again, reading together daily, fiction, nonfiction, any reading is good reading. You know, listening to music and just kind of being free, dancing around. Kindergartners love to do that. Arts and crafts, again, students are so creative and they are so good at various arts and crafts and creating their own things. Sharing, taking turns and following rules, super important, because remember, they're entering a classroom of 20, 22 students. So these things will be expected. Of course, we'll work with them about sharing and taking turns and following rules, but you can start early with them and help them to develop those skills. Playing with letters and numbers and puzzles, just things that are just fun to do that are also educational. Those are things to always look for just in the surrounding, and also just look for as you're working together. Counting toys, anything in the household, even laundry. They can do sorting of colors, you know, with socks or any type of garments. So that is something definitely we encourage. Even with sorting, you can have, you know, have pasta if you have different shapes, sort them into different shapes, or with beans, you know, or the colors. So any type of sorting, again, things that are found around your house. You don't need to go buy anything special. Visiting new places. I know this is very different these days, but again, you know, even if you walk outside of your house and you engage your student in a conversation around the colors of a plant or the shape of a plant, or even how many cracks are in the sidewalk as you're taking a walk, all of those skills are skills students need as they enter kindergarten. Practice buttons, zippers, all of that. Those are really important, especially as students are, you know, going to the restroom at school. We want to make sure that they know how to use zippers and unbutton and button their, you know, their garments. So practice listening and talking again. I really encourage you, if it's one thing you take away from these two slides, is find a devoted time to put away electronics and really speak and listen to your child. So once again, thank you for listening, and we welcome you to RBUSD. I'll turn it back to Dr. Toronto to introduce the next person.
Thank you, Ms. Bascaron. Before we move on, I just want to remind people that this presentation will be made available on our district website later on this evening. Also, you can submit live questions. You notice at the very bottom of every slide, you can submit to kinderroundup2021@rbusd.org. So right now we have about 280 families who are watching. We appreciate you being here. But again, please note, we will make sure this presentation is made available after for those who couldn't be here. So next, I'd like to introduce Ms. Nakayama, the principal of Lincoln Elementary School. She's going to talk with you a little bit about differentiated instruction at the elementary level in kindergarten.
Thank you, Dr. Toronto, and thank you everyone who's joining us this evening. I too just recognized and realized my youngest son will be entering kindergarten in the fall and part of the class of 2034. I also am a parent. I have 4 boys. That was not a glitch in the audio. That's correct. I have 4 sons. And so I understand what it's like to send each of them off to school. And it's kind of bittersweet thinking it's going to be my last time doing so this fall with my youngest. But I will say in Redondo Beach, one thing we do know and recognize is that every student entering into our kinder classrooms is bringing a different level of experience and knowledge with them. So our teachers absolutely focus on providing what we call differentiated instruction. What it means is that no 2 children are alike. We know that. I can tell you not any 2 of my sons are the same in any aspect whatsoever. And our teachers recognize that and know how to work with all of our students and partner with you as the parents to make sure they are provided everything they need academically, socially, emotionally, all well-rounded to produce a really amazing student from Redondo Union High School. We know some students have had years of experience at daycare or preschool. Some have been at home all this time, and that's okay. Our teachers are phenomenal and know how to work with every single student to provide them with the amount of time and differentiation or a variety of supports to help engage and support them. We use a variety of ways to differentiate our instruction throughout our kindergarten classroom. So students participate in whole group instruction. Teachers, classroom assistants, parent volunteers, when you are allowed on campus, can facilitate and support with students learning in small group instruction. We also have time for individual or one-on-one work so that students can get that extra time with their teachers or another adult on campus. Students may rotate around, as you can see from the pictures, like the students watching that iPad on the wall, center time. So students will have a variety of activities to engage in throughout their school day. And another amazing way our teachers are able to differentiate is through homework. So when they send items home for you to support your student with, it will be at their independent ability and skill level. Attendance. Attendance is absolutely important to your student's success, not only in kindergarten, but throughout their life. Attending kindergarten every single day, important thing. Remember, it exposes them to language. This is social language with their peers. This is social language with adults that are not parents. So engaging with their teachers, with myself, our other staff on campus is very important. Also, language that is content specific. So words that they're going to hear in that academic setting that are specific to language arts, math, science, and social science. We want to provide them with a rich environment that's full of language that's going to carry them from kindergarten through 12th grade. When they're present, that time that they're in class allows them to remain on task, and they're only going to benefit from that live direct instruction when they are here to hear it, when they're here to see it, and when they're here to actually put their hands on it and engage and produce products to demonstrate their mastery of what they've heard and what they have been taught. They need that time in class to practice those skills to help them as they eventually leave kindergarten and move on to first grade. Kindergarten is going to come and go, and 2034 will be here before we all know it. And attending school every day and showing up on time is critical for your students when they leave high school and have to enter the real world. We want to prepare them to be college and career ready. So, you know, there's a saying in our district, if you're on time, you're late. And if you're early, you're on time. So have your students on time or early for school. It allows them to not be stressed or anxious. They can enter the class, they can prepare their materials for the day and be ready to hit the ground running and transition smoothly and have a successful time. We want students to also begin to develop those habits. These are lifelong habits of showing up on time, being where they need to be, and engaging in every activity that is expected of them and completing it. So these are life skills we're building just by that simple task of ensuring that they attend kindergarten every day. And last and most importantly is their engagement in school. We want them to come, we want them to participate in class, we want them to engage in their learning, we want them to engage with their peers, be with their classmates, both academically as well as socially. So thank you very much, and I'll hand it back over to Dr. Toronto.
Thank you, Ms. Nakayama. Now I'd like to introduce the principal of Jefferson Elementary, Mr. Jeff Winkler. He's going to talk with you about how can you get involved at your local school.
All right, thanks, Dr. Toronto, and hello, everyone. Just like Ms. Nakayama said, we want your students, your children involved in our schools and engaged. We want you involved as well. And as a parent, there are a number of different ways to do that. There's a partnership that we have between yourselves and your student and the school. And there are a lot of different ways to get involved. Contrary to actually what my slide says and what I was going to present, Before you join a committee or work on an event or anything like that, involvement starts as you kind of find your way through the beginning of kindergarten and you start a relationship with your student's teacher and the school. And I really would advise to, before you get into a committee or the PTA or RBF or all those things, we want you to do that, of course. But involvement starts with getting a feeling of what the experience is like for you as a parent and for your kids too. When you talk about involvement specifically, there's a list. I'm not going to read it. I'll direct you to it. It's on the website. It's detailed of what all the different things are you can do. Involvement really doesn't mean necessarily you've got to be here every day. We understand you've got lives outside of getting your kids here and spending time at school. So sometimes it's behind the scenes. Sometimes it's with a specific event. There are a lot of different ways to support the school. And so take the time to learn your school's culture, find something that you want to support or you gravitate towards. Our defined big programs are the PTA and Ed Foundation, like we've mentioned already. You can come to school every day and figure out what we can do. We have room parents, all these different types of things. Some of the really highlight programs are the nutrition and garden program that come to us from Beach Cities Health, as well as the hands-on art program from our PTA. And then for dads out there, we have a program called Watchdogs. It is a full day. It's a drag race from start to finish. We give you a t-shirt and you could be sweeping up picnic tables or reading to somebody who needs a little help. It's called Watchdogs again, and it's a good one. So next slide. These are our biggies, a big four. In as far as community partnerships, so kind of stepping back out of the classroom and out of the school and into Redondo Beach as a whole, the aforementioned PTA and Ed Foundation, who we really couldn't do what we do without their support. Beach Cities Health District, amazing partner and really a unique entity in our community and in the greater South Bay. They help all walks of life from early on to child age to adult to senior, and have some really fantastic programs at our schools, from walking school bus, a garden program, like I said, nutrition, all those different types of things. And then huge shout out for our somewhat newer partner, which is RBPD. We're really grateful for their support of schools, progressive leadership, and really being a partner with us and keeping our kids and our community safe. So those are our big four. Again, find a way to get involved in a way that's meaningful for you, supportive of the school, but of course, first, figure out your path as you kind of get into the start of the school year. So with that, I'll give it back to Dr. Toronto, and he's going to introduce the team from Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Winkler. Now I'd like to introduce the interim principal, Dr. Maribel Galan, and the assistant principal, Ms. Sarah McMaster. They're going to talk with you a little bit tonight about the Spanish Dual Immersion program at Washington Elementary School.
Great, thank you, Dr. Toronto. Good evening, families and future Washington explorers. Buenas noches and bienvenidos. My name is Maribel Galan. I'm the interim principal at Washington, and with me is Mrs. Sarah McMaster. Sarah, say hello.
Hi, family. Thank you for joining us tonight.
We're super proud to share our dual language immersion program offered to both Spanish-speaking and English-speaking students. Our students will learn how to read, write, and speak in both languages, English and Spanish. There has been much research that has demonstrated that students that are in such programs, in dual immersion programs, have greater success in their core content areas. In the two-way bilingual biliterate immersion program, you'll see that your students will successfully critically think through things in both languages. So we're super excited to be able to provide that to our families in Redondo Beach. The Spanish Dual Immersion program is open to all RBUSD kindergarten students with priority to siblings who are currently enrolled in our program. So the next slide, I want to share with you how to enroll your student. The very first step is to enroll in your home school. We want you to make sure that you complete that enrollment process. The next step is to enroll, to make sure that you submit the enrollment form or register between the dates of March 1st and the 31st. And that is submitted to the district office in the Educational Services Department. We may have possible openings for our non-RBUSD Spanish-speaking students only. To learn more about that, we encourage you to visit our Washington website and give us a call. We're happy to share any information. We are very, very accepting and approachable, so make sure that you give us a call. I highly recommend the dual immersion program. I know many of our students, it's wonderful to see them, listening to them over Zoom right now, speaking to each other in Spanish. It's quite exciting. So we look forward to receiving your children and working with families across Redondo. Just so that you know, I have 5 children. The oldest is going to be 24 next month, and they all speak, you know, some different language. So I think it's very important to expose all children to more than just the one language. Sarah, do you want to add anything? You've been here now for about 2 years.
Well, our dual immersion program at Washington is truly, my lights went out. I'll do some jumping jacks, everybody, stretch break. I see Dr. Keller jumping. Way to go, Dr. Keller. Our dual immersion program at Washington is a phenomenal program. I love the fact that on our campus we have English only classes and dual immersion classes. It's quite nice to see, you know, both programs existing on one campus, and we have a great synergy here where we have collaboration amongst our teachers, both in DI and English only. And like Dr. Galan shared, it's wonderful to see our students acquiring language, you know, acquiring 2 languages at once. I happen to be observing in a kindergarten classroom today, and it's amazing to see the quick progression of oral language, which then leads to, you know, the children's ability to read and then write in Spanish as well as English at the same time. So we encourage you to reach out to us if you have any questions and come to our dual immersion information event, which you can find out information on our website.
Thank you, Sarah. Thanks, Dr. Toronto. I'll turn it back to you.
All right, thank you. As Dr. Keller mentioned at the very beginning, RUHS is your only choice. And so when we put together this evening's presentation, even in prior years, we wanted to find someone who better to talk about RUHS than someone who's had 2 children go through schools and RUHS, the principal of Burrow Heights Elementary, Ms. Karen Moore.
Well, thank you, Dr. Toronto. Yes, I have that privilege of having my 2 daughters attend school all the way through Redondo. And we'll welcome everybody, class of 2034. I can't believe I'm saying that. We're so happy you're joining us tonight. No matter where your child goes to kindergarten, they're just going to be really taken good care of, and they're going to be really happy, and so are you. All of my colleagues are just amazing, and I couldn't work with better people. So, but now you're thinking, wait, high school, yeah, time flies when you're having fun, and believe me, time will fly. My 2 daughters did go, started at Lincoln. One went to Paris, one went to Adams, and they both came through Redondo Union High School with flying colors. And no matter where your student goes, they're going to end up at Redondo Union, and we do call it the best high school in the South Bay. Of course, we're very biased, but it really is. Redondo is known for many, many awards, including the Green Ribbon Award for 2 years for environmental excellence, the Gold Ribbon Award for academic excellence, Academic Decathlon Awards, Yearbook Awards, Newspaper Awards, and Engineering Awards. So you can see on this slide so many awards. You go back and you see, wow, they really shine in so many different areas. Very, very different. If you could go to the next slide, Anthony. While attending Redondo, you must consider joining a club. Sports, extracurricular activities, just get involved. That's why they have these cool slogans. Are you in? You got to be in. If something doesn't exist, your student could be the one to create it. We welcome innovation. We welcome diversity. And that's the great flavor of Redondo Union. Redondo sports teams, they've proven to be very successful. From basketball, which my youngest daughter played, to volleyball, baseball, cross country, students excel in Redondo sports. I am the proud parent of this beautiful kindergarten teacher in the corner, if you can see her there in this slide. a product of Redondo Beach Schools. So get involved, have fun doing it, and enjoy the success that comes with being a Redondo parent. So now I'll turn it back to you, Dr. Toronto.
Well said. Thank you, Karen. Now I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Teresa Van Duzen. She is our CDC program director. We know a lot of parents have questions regarding childcare, and we're fortunate here in Redondo Beach to provide this optional service for families through our Child Development Center. So Ms. Van Duzen.
Good evening, everybody. So I'm here to talk to you about CDC, which we offer before and after school care for any families that may need it. We are located on all 8 elementary school campuses, and we're open from 6:30 in the mornings to 6 o'clock at night. So it doesn't matter your child's placement, whether they end up in AM kinder or PM kinder, they're going to have a full day care with us. And our teachers will walk them over to drop them off at their kinder class and be there to pick them up and walk them back to our program because we are located on the campus. We offer both a school year and a year-round program. Our year-round program actually includes our summer as well, and we have an awesome summer program. We are open on full days, sometimes during when the schools are closed, like spring break. We're still here and operating the 6:30 to 6. And we have a low adult to child ratio in our classrooms. Our teachers are also credentialed by the state of California, and they work with the elementary school classroom teachers so that we are building on what the kids are learning in their classrooms. And even at Washington, we do have Spanish speaking teachers in the classrooms to help support the DI students. What's important for you all to know is if you are interested in our program, our priority enrollment does happen concurrently with the schools in the month of March. So what you would need to do is once you complete your enrollment at the elementary school, you would indicate that you are interested in our program, and they would send you a form, and then that you would fill out that form and send it to us, and then we would give you all of your enrollment paperwork for our CDC program. And this is the first year we are doing this strictly online. So we're making advancements in our technology here in our office. But please remember that it needs to be done in the month of March to have priority enrollment. Anybody that comes after March 31st will be placed on a wait list because we do fill up at all of our schools in the month of March. On my slide here, we also have our website. So you can go to our website, and we do have step-by-step instructions on how to enroll in our program. And with that, I'll turn it back to Dr. Toronto.
Thank you, Ms. Van Duzen. And just to be clear, our CDC stands for Child Development Center, not the other CDC. All right, so moving on. Thank you to all of our principals, Dr. Keller, Ms. Flynn, PTA, RBEF. Thank you for being here and sharing all the great things going on at our school sites. And so now that you've heard all of that, your next step is preparing for the actual enrollment process. And so everything will be done online, but your first step is determining what is your school of residency. On our district webpage, there is a link for a school locator. All you need to do is go there, type in your address, and the map will determine which RBUSD school is your neighborhood school. From there, again, on our district webpage, rbusd.org, you will complete your enrollment application, and this will be available starting March 1st, 2021. Now, if you've already completed the application, you're going to have to redo it again because we know sometimes people will go online and they start registering for things in advance. However, the link for starting the 21 school year will not be available until March 1st. And so when you do that, be prepared to answer any demographic information, health information about your child. You will be asked to provide student and emergency contact information. If you're enrolling more than one student, you will be asked to complete each student individually under the same account. For right now, the enrollment system linked is for RBUSD residents only. If you are outside of RBUSD and you're interested in applying for a permit to attend, you can please visit our permit information page on our district webpage. So that's step one. Step two, you are going to be asked to produce required documentation. So if you take a look here, the required documentation is as follows. We need to have a proof of age, your child's birth certificate or passport, and they must be born before September 1, 2016. Your state immunization records, a verification of identity of a parent. This could be your driver's license, state ID, or passport, and verification of residency. So with that, you have to provide documentation in both of these categories, A and B. So if you're a homeowner, We do ask that you provide your recent property tax bill or escrow paperwork if you're a renter. We do ask for your rental or lease agreement with your parent or guardian name and address. It must be on the agreement, as well as the manager and owner name and current phone number for the property. And in this agreement must include your children's name on that as well. Now that's everything for category A. Category B, it still requires parent legal name and address on utility bills, gas, water, electric. We don't take Spectrum or Comcast bills. Gas, water, electric are the bills that we take. Your income tax document with your current address, your current payroll stub, or any social services documentation that you may have. So that is step 2. And then step 3, if you have additional requests, such as school of choice or the dual immersion program, these are things that you will be able to do after you've completed the online registration for your neighborhood school. So once all that is done, you will then contact your neighborhood school and you'll request a link to this form that you will be provided to complete your online enrollment, whether it be for school of choice or for the Washington dual immersion program. But just remember this, you must register at your home school first before you can proceed with school of choice or the DI program at Washington. One last piece, and I'm going to refer back here to Dr. Wiles to kind of cover everything as it relates to the home language survey and English language testing, because this is something that you also have to fill out.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Toronto. So after you have filled out your registration paperwork and you have been accepted and you've given all of your documents to your school site, the school site is going to ask you to submit a home language survey. This is a required document by the state of California. Every family must fill it out. If your child's home language is English, you fill out English all the way through all 4 questions, you turn it back in, you're good to go. It's really important that parents answer these questions openly and honestly. If you answer any of the questions with English and something else, or a different language, something else, your child will be given an initial, what we call LPAC, English Language Proficiency Assessment, at the beginning of the year when they register, so that we know how to best serve your child as an English language learner. Oftentimes parents will put 2 languages because possibly a family member or a nanny will occasionally speak to the child in another language. We're looking for your child's primary language, what language is primarily spoken to your child. And we do want parents to be open and honest that when there is a language other than English, your child will be tested prior to the school year so we can give them the best services possible.
All right, very good. Thank you, Dr. Wiles. And so I just want to put this slide back up there, just another recap regarding registration. Again, everything will be done online. You see here a little snip or a picture of where you can find this information on our district webpage, but everything will be handled online. So we will ask that you meet all of the verification for residency, required documentation as far as immunization, birth certificates. Everything can be uploaded in PDF and sent over to your school site. But again, March 1st is the start date. And so with that, what I'd like to do, because we had some people come in late, and I know there's a question that's in the email box. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. And Dr. Keller, I know at the very beginning you addressed the question regarding next year. So for those people who came in late, do you mind just taking a minute and sharing what you spoke about earlier?
Isn't it funny? It's funny because reflecting, I probably could articulate it a little bit better. Our plan is to return in the fall. We're hopeful for that, hope for the best, plan for the worst. We will have a plan A, which is the return, and a plan B and a plan C, as we have under this current context. And so we want people to know we believe in optimism and hope, but neither are necessarily a plan. So we'll plan A, plan B, plan C. That's what we do well. You have no idea how many plans we've thrown out the door this year, and the word we like to use here is agile, and so we will continue to be. And hopefully that answers your question. Please don't misquote me and say I said we are returning, rain or shine, and it's raining tonight. But we are hoping for the best. Period.
And Dr. Keller, can you elaborate what's happening on this Monday?
This Monday, the cohort A for transitional kindergarten, first and second grade are returning. And then on Wednesday are returning for the hybrid in-person experience. We're excited. We're very excited. And then on Wednesday, cohort B will arrive to our elementary campuses for TJK 1 and 2. And so we have what is called a waiver, and that was the hustle on behalf of our entire team here to get our schools open. And so we will continue this pursuit as we move along.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Keller. So I'm going to go to our first question. We have actually a few CDC questions. So Ms. Van Duzen, if you don't mind, I'm going to come to you first. So does the priority enrollment for CDC during March depend upon the day you apply? And if slots fill up, is there a benefit to enrolling or applying on March 1st versus March 15th or later?
No, it's anytime. It's not a first come, first served basis. It's come in the month of March. We've said at some schools where we're impacted, we may have to go to a lottery. We've never had to do that in the past. Everybody that's come in the month of March has gotten in.
Very good. The next question is also kind of another CDC question in terms of if your child is enrolled in CDC and there's extracurricular activities such as some of the programs that take place on the school. Again, we're thinking about them coming back under normal circumstances where we have different programs, clubs, activities available. How does CDC handle students being a part of both programs or activities?
What happens is we work with the clubs. They will give us a list of the kids that are enrolled in whatever club it is, and they will come over and pick them up from CDC and take them to that club and then come back and drop them off.
And the plan for CDC for next year is to be open. Is that correct?
Just like what Dr. Keller said, I'm going to stick with that right now. But we will be agile as we are right now.
And Dr. Toronto, I think it's fair to say, speaking of clubs, you and I are part of the CDC fan club, having our own children in that program, and just the biggest fans, and couldn't be more thankful. So thank you, Teresa, and to the entire team.
Thank you.
I agree. And a question regarding School of Choice. And so the School of Choice program is a program that if you live here in Redondo Beach and your home school is School A, but you are interested in going to another school in Redondo Beach, you would have to complete a School of Choice application. And then with that, we would look at, based upon space and availability, there would be a public lottery to establish potentially a wait list if there is no space at that school. But again, you can find all that information on our district webpage regarding School of Choice and even dual immersion. And there are some families who've emailed in regarding the permit process. You, again, go to rbusd.org, go to enroll in rbusd, and you can find information specific to that. Let's see here. This would be a dual immersion question, so maybe this might come to you, Dr. Wiles or Dr. Galan. If a student gets into dual immersion program at Washington, would they then go to Adams Middle School or their home middle school? Again, I'm assuming that the way the question is phrased, that if you're from South Redondo, but you get into the DI program at Washington, what now becomes your home school for middle school?
Yeah, so great question. So Washington becomes your home school, and therefore you would continue. Our dual immersion program is not just K-5. Our dual immersion program starting next year is K-9. So our first inaugural class are headed on to RUHS to be Seahawks. So your child will continue at Adams Middle School. Our kids at Adams Middle School continue in a humanities elective that is dual immersion.
Very good, thank you. And anyone can jump in on this one in terms of parent volunteers on campus next year. I think Dr. Keller said it well earlier in terms of we're coming back to business in the fall. And so when it comes to volunteers in class, and especially during kindergarten, I think we all recognize it is a special year and we love having our volunteers on campus, as you heard many of our principals say. But with all that said, I mean, we still will have to follow the guidelines that are given to us from the Department of Public Health.
Absolutely. And Dr. Toronto, I want to share one thing. Just because we haven't had volunteers physically on campus does not mean people have not been volunteering. So Kim Kiwi can probably speak to this. Our PTA has been incredibly robust in what they've been doing for our schools and our families, providing activities, providing virtual field trips and virtual assemblies for our kids. Our hands-on art program they pivoted on a dime and they're creating kind of videos and hands-on home activities for our kids. So there's lots of ways to be involved right now, but we do follow the guidelines from the LA County Health Department around on-campus volunteers.
Thank you. Ms. Van Duzen, coming back to you, another CDC question, and I hope I'm interpreting this correctly. If I'm not, we'll follow back up with the individual involved. So basically, a family just would like to know, or families, I got a couple on this one too. If they were involved in the CDC program prior to COVID, will each kindergarten student be guaranteed a CDC spot In other words, can they plan for before and after school care?
That sounds like it's for a first grade student if they were previously enrolled.
I apologize, attending preschool. I should have clarified that. If they were in the preschool program prior to.
They still have to go through the enrollment process. The only thing that would be different for them is they wouldn't have to pay a processing fee.
Got it. Thank you. And then if you look at one's questions about the start time and end time for kindergarten, Dr. Wiles.
Yeah, so start time and end time for kindergarten varies slightly depending on our 8 school sites. The instructional minutes are the same, but oftentimes in order to stagger arrivals and dismissals. So what we ask parents to do is absolutely please attend the virtual kindergarten events for your particular elementary school site, and those principals will give you the exact start and end time, as well as all the arrival and dismissal procedures for their particular school site.
Dr. Bruna, I think you're still here as well. This question might be for you in terms of TK. If there's a child who is 5 and eligible to start kindergarten, can you explain a little bit about like what maybe the team could do to determine if it's a better fit for TK or kindergarten for that student?
So we definitely go by the birth date guidelines. So TK students have to fall between that September 2nd, December 2nd guideline. I would say if you have a concern in terms of if your child ready for kindergarten, give your principal a call. We'd be happy to talk to you about their previous preschool history, what they've been doing before kindergarten, and help you come to a determination. Kindergarten and TK are obviously not compulsory grades, so they're not actually required by law. However, we've had several instances where we've worked with the family depending on where their child is at academically or socially, et cetera, and we're happy to kind of guide you through making that decision.
And Dr. Toronto, I would add one more thing. I would always caution parents, right now it is January 28th. And just your child has only been on this earth just a few short years. And what we know is that children change tremendously in 1 month, 3 months, and 6 months. So between now and August, your child may have massive growth. So we always ask parents, don't lock yourself into a decision right now. Give yourself grace to be able to make this decision as your child matures along with you.
Thank you. Dr. Keller, I haven't heard this question come up before, but a few that are in here regarding the required immunizations as it relates to enrollment. Have you heard anything regarding a requirement that kindergarten students or incoming K, that'd be part of the new immunization requirements?
Are you referring directly to COVID-19?
Yes. Yes.
At this time, I have not. However, that can change.
Thank you. And I think we may have one more. There are a handful of questions in here that are very specific to the individual. And so I'll be more than happy to follow up with them after this. But I'm going to try to find one more. And there's one more CDC question. If you don't enroll your child in CDC in kindergarten, what are the chances of them potentially being in the CDC program the following year in first grade?
Well, our enrollment rolls over from year to year. So all the kids that get into kinder will have the first choice for those spots. If there's any space in whatever school it happens to be, we'll always enroll off of a wait list, but sometimes at schools we don't have space.
Very good, thank you. So as I mentioned, this presentation will be made available almost immediately when we end tonight, so that if you have any questions, you can go back and rewatch it or share with your friends who weren't able to be here. Otherwise, on behalf of the Board of Education, our superintendent, and all of our speakers, I thank you for joining us today. You're always welcome to visit our website for more information on how to enroll at RBUSD. I do encourage you to also visit your school-specific website for more information on any upcoming kinder events. And I'm also thinking about what Mr. Winkler said earlier in terms of getting to know your school. As you start planning ahead for the upcoming school year, go on that website and just kind of learn a little bit about the school. Look at the teachers, look at their websites, what they're doing, find out what's going on with the PTA, the Ed Foundation, all the different things at each individual school. So again, this event will be posted later this evening. Thank you again. Be well, stay healthy, and welcome to RBUSD. Have a good night, everyone.